To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Shawn Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Shawn, the Rev. Welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. Today it's been quiet, but that could change because of my guest today, who's a very special guest, and I know that's why you all tuned in, so I'm going to get to her ASAP. I love her and respect her. I've known her a long time. You guys are going to, if you don't already know her and love her, you're going to love her by the end of the show. So can't wait for that. Thank you also very much for tuning in, spending an hour of your busy Friday afternoon to hang out with me. And what do I want to tell you guys? I'm going to check the prayer urn. Heather L. from San Francisco. I misplaced or lost something, Rev. Very valuable. Could you pray for me to find it? Heather, that is a wonderful, wonderful request. Not wonderful that you misplaced this thing. And I'm going to pray hard that you find it again, okay? But I don't believe anybody's ever requested a prayer to help them find a lost item before. So, yes, I will say a prayer for you, Heather. This, right off the bat, it's either going to be St. Jude or St. Anthony. So let's see what I got over here. I've got some wonderful St. Anthony prayers for lost articles, lost items. I'll find you a good one. Name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. St. Anthony, when you prayed, your stolen book of prayers was given back to you. Pray now for all of us who have lost things precious and dear. Pray for all who have lost faith, hope, or the friendship of God. Pray for us who have lost friends or relatives by death. Pray for all who have lost peace of mind or spirit. Pray that we may be given new hope, new faith, new love. Pray that lost things, needful and helpful to us, may be returned to our keeping. Or, if we must continue in our loss, pray that we may be given Christ's comfort and peace. Amen. Heather, I hope you find your article. Send me a message. Keep me updated and posted on that, okay? God bless you, Heather. Thank you for the request. Let's check the Paranormal Ministry mailbag. Daniel V. from Mississippi. I also live in a haunted house. Should I try to cross the spirits over? You know, that's a great question to also ask my guest when she comes on later. But I'll make this brief. Uh, do you, man? Do what you feel, um, Daniel. If you're not bothered by it, then live and let live. If you're a little freaked out about it, you have other family members in the house who are a little freaked out about the presence of a spirit, disembodied spirit, then yes, I wouldn't try to do it on my own. Get a professional over there, somebody, a very spiritual person to come over and try and make contact with the spirit and find out if they have a message for you or they're just attached and stuck there for whatever reason, if they need help. But yeah, reach out to a professional if you feel the need to help this spirit get to where it needs to be. But then again, if it's a protective spirit over the house and the property and seems to be, it's not frightening to have it around, you're just, want to know what to do. Uh, do what your heart tells you. Me, I have many spirits here. I just, live and let live. Occasionally, somebody, an uninvited, unwanted guest that's not like the others shows up and tries to change the natural spiritual flow of things, and I will deal with that. But I don't. I assume. I hate to assume, but I assume that's not the case here. Or you would have said. I would hope that you would have said that you're having some real issues. But get a professional in there. And I am going to ask my guests this question. there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go to the website to visit, remember that my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So if you're there and you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, I know times are tough, but click on it and send in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and trust me, we will put it to good use. If you're there visiting, go. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature, not necessarily attached to the paranormal, in addition to being an ordained exorcist, I'm also a spiritual advisor, certified spiritual advisor. So there isn't a place there on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me. But don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called the WSE course/book. On that page, you'll find the ghost store. Lots of cool things to buy in there if you go for that sort of stuff. But scroll down to the bottom of that page. You'll see my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry. And I quote, scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, my publisher. And don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy, though. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada, and the ASPCA. So you also get to help some extremely needy children and some animals. You can get the book signed by me, enclosed in a house blessing kit off of the website, or you can get it at a little less expensive on Amazon. And this is a great time to purchase the book because God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2, Chronicles of an American Exorcist, comes out this summer. So this is a great time to get all caught up with the first book before you uh, get the second book. Okay, guys, scroll a little bit further down on that page and you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I am a founding member. I'm the instructor. I offer a 12-week online college level course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare, through the WSE. And this course is for all of the true warriors for Christ that feel a calling and a longing to want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, putting up a good fight, circling the wagons against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. That's the course for you. All my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion, suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed gifts that you can only get from yours truly, the Rev. You can enroll in the course there at the website. If you want more information before making that type of commitment, there is a Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page. You can go there and read a little bit about the course, or just reach out to me, talk to me about the course. We'll figure out if it's a good course for you. Most importantly, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers, okay? Thank you very much. My guest, what can I say about her? She already knows I love her. She already knows. I already told her she looks very pretty today, and she does. I've known her a long time. I consider her a really, really good friend. Um, and her resume just goes on. You know her. You know that her resume just goes on and on and on. Her bio and resume. So I don't want to bore you with all that stuff because you all know what she's all about. Please welcome to the show the one and only Solaris Blue Raven.
Thank you,
What are you
Reverend Shawn.
What are you doing today?
I'm visiting with you, and it's wonderful. I'm looking forward to your new book. That's going to be
Oh my
awesome. So,
gosh! I
congratulations.
just got a message from a young lady that my first book freaked her out. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I I care too much. The only problem I really have is watching what I say before I say it. And when I say something that offends somebody, I don't it really hurts me because I don't mean that. It's just I've never been that way. I don't have no filter. So I feel really bad. Here I am pitching my book. I warn people my publisher says it's the scariest book she ever read or ever published. And there's been some hauntings attached to the book, which freaks me out. But this woman called up. I spent half an evening with her in the wee hours, helping her with some issues she was going through while she was sitting there reading the book. And that that was upsetting because I felt bad that my book would cause this. And I'm warning people ahead of time now that the second book is not like the first book. I've really stepped it up. These were stories I probably would have never shared if I didn't have a lot of colleagues in my field. And I don't want to talk all about me because this is your show today. But I shared some stories that I probably would have never shared if I hadn't been told by people that really care about me and love me that, dude, this stuff is like a monkey on your back. You need to release it. You
Hmm.
need to release this energy, get it out there. But I'm going to warn people ahead of time. The second book is, yeah, I didn't really pull any punches there and talked about a lot of really scary stuff, which you and I can talk about too. But I love you. I'm so glad you're here
Oh, I
today.
love you
How's
too.
your sister doing?
She's doing well. Thank you for asking. She's doing
Dare I
fine.
ask, how's the animal situation going? You and I both
Oh,
live for our animals, and we both have had loss
we have.
recently, and we both have had, and you know what? I keep waiting to one of these days pull, and I have before, but I have so many prayers in there from people, and I eventually get to them. If I don't get to them at the beginning of the show because I only pull one at a time, I'll get to them sometime this week and reach out to them personally and pray with them. But there's a lot of prayers, people that have lost pets in there. And I'm
Mm,
telling you, it's like that loss, and I've talked about it on this show before, but that loss, I can't remember never not having an animal in my life. And I was always the one in the family that took care of them and got really super attached to them. And I'm telling you, when my animals go, I'm a blithering idiot rolling around on the floor talking in tongues, done. It
hmm.
takes me, and I never recover. I may ask you things sometimes, Solaris, that maybe not aren't in your wheelhouse, let's say, but I totally respect how your eyes may see something, how you may feel about something. Bec- I get off on that. So talk to me and all the people out there that I know and I can feel them right now that are just really struggling with loss, and you did too. And if it's
Hmm.
too personal, we can move on off the topic. But
That's
how
okay.
did you, how do you, how do you, how did you get over that? Was brutal for you, and it's
Oh,
been
it was
brutal
very
for
brutal.
me. How,
Yeah.
what advice, if you have any, or how did you cope with it, or why do you think the death of a pet um, is just like the end of the world for people like you and I and many of the people I
Hmm.
know that are watching that have prayers and that are in right now.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I think it has a lot to do. The auras are connected. I don't know about you, but my dog, especially Lex, who passed in February. And thank you for your prayers, by the way, and all your support. I had wonderful beings, spiritual beings such as yourself in my orbit, helping me get through that because it was really rough. It was worse than losing a loved one, like a physical person, in my opinion. But I think the auras are connected with animals. My dog was part of my blood and my spirit. That's all I can say about it. I mean, we did everything together. He was always there. I called him my co-pilot. I raised him since he was a little puppy, and I mean, I rarely, when I was traveling, I'd call every day when he was being boarded to make sure he was okay. And he was, everything was fine. When he went, it was really hard and also unexpected. I wasn't planning on losing him that quick when he did start to go down. I thought it had like another year or two with him, and it just was no. So yeah, it's so rough. It's so rough. I can't even begin to tell you. And you just keep your faith in your spirit. You pray, you trust because it's. I always wonder, did I do the right thing? I mean, we had this conversation, but it's whether you're making a decision and a dog is in a bad space and needs to be euthanized. It's a really hard thing to do. You either let it suffer or you make a bigger choice on behalf of the life form. The spirit. And I had a hard time. I had such a hard time, and I'm still feeling kind of guilt, but at the same time, I know that I did the right thing. But it was rough because I had a choice, and he was not doing well, and he wouldn't have made it. And me, I was like, I'm like Frankenstein when it comes down to animals. I'm like, oh, there's got to be another way. Put him in cryogenics, whatever. I know it sounds weird, but I feel very sad that he's gone. But I love him dearly, and he's in the spirit realm somewhere in heaven, beyond heaven, and his ashes are here with me, close to my heart. So it's rough. I can't, like I said, I felt very displaced, and I still feel a part of me is missing because he's gone. So it's been rough. And yeah, it's been rough.
I know you're a very spiritual person. Do you? What has helped me? And it's been like this my whole life. What has helped me? And and I didn't share this when I was young with people because I just knew people would think I was a freak. I regret it now, but of course I'm a much different person than I was when I was young. But what always helped me with the loss of pets was I always felt that they came back. I always felt that they were still around. Even like now, I probably 6 or 7 urns of ashes of pets of mine that have passed that are here in the house. And I'll be sitting there watching TV and I'll see the doggy door flap. It's not windy outside. The doggy door flap will just open up like either a dog went out or came in. If of my mastiff that I have one left who turns 11 next month, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm on such borrowed time with her mastiffs. They,
Mm-hmm.
11's ancient.
Right.
She'll even raise her head up and her eyes will follow something and her little tail will wag and then she'll go right back to sleep. Um, the last huge mastiff we had, well, no, 2 mastiffs back. Henry used to like to, he is 100, 200 pound dog. He could
Mm-hmm.
move like a ninja. You wouldn't hear him coming. He was black brindle, so at night you didn't even see him. He would sneak into my wife's bathroom in the morning when she's getting to work at the right at the time when she's doing her makeup, and he would just stick his nose right in her butt, and it would just launch her, and it would wake me up because I'd hear her go scream, and then just go opus, and then she would be hugging and kissing him and pushing him out of the bathroom and closing the door and locking it. But that still happens to her every once in a
Mm-hmm.
while. I'll get woken up out of sleep by Sharon doing that, and she'll just peek around the corner at me and go, shake her head because he did it again. So that's been very comforting to me. I remember running into a psychic that didn't know me, and I didn't know her at the Highland Games here in town. And she said, "I don't know if you go for, I don't know who you are, sir, and I don't know if you go for this sort of thing. I'm a psychic, and I never let on who I was." She said, "I've never seen this before with anybody," and I just, "What are you seeing?" She goes, "You have the largest group of spirit animals following you around like I've never seen before." And that was just so great to hear that because I think of that, and I think it was Will Rogers said, "If there's no dogs in heaven, I want to go where they're at." That's
Mm-hmm.
totally me.
Yeah,
I
me too.
hope that when I cross, it's where they're at, and that's going to be my heaven. And if that's the case, I know that I will see you there,
Yeah.
and I know that everybody that you and I know that loves animals the way we do, they'll all be there, and that's gonna be so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that in and around your home, the presence of spirit animals?
I have had visions of them, so I know they're there. When it comes down to it, I mean, with Lex, he visited me. This was about 3 weeks after, and he was at my door with a white cat, as a matter of fact, as a messenger, I thought. And he came in, and I put a little blanket on him, and he lied down. He had like snow on his fur, and then he went to sleep. And then another time, I heard him barking, and that was like clairaudient. So yeah, I did. I've had kind of things happen. I've also had some weird incidences, like we were talking about the doggy door. I had milk bones fly off the counter, which his favorite milk bones. And then I thought, okay, because I have another dog, Orion, who's the puppy now. But it's funny because I thought, well, maybe Lex wanted a milk bone because it was his spirit. I put one of the milk bones on his little ashes, his, his box. So
That's
I
great.
thought maybe he wanted something, but of course, obviously, maybe I'm reading too much in it. But just the idea of something like that, just nobody was around the box. There wasn't a vibration or anything. It just kind of flew. So that was interesting. And they just spilled everywhere. So.
Who's hanging around now? I mean, not only spirit wise, but physical pet wise. How's your fur baby posse doing?
Oh, the real ones, they're doing fine. I mean, the ones that are living in the illusion of living, they're fine. I've got my 3 cats and my one puppy, and he did get to meet Lex. He's a Saint Bernard mix. I think I might have mentioned him to you. So his name is Orion, and he's 1 year today. Is his birthday?
Oh my gosh, happy
Yeah.
birthday. I wish you would have sent me a message. I would have had a little. I've been on Nutrisystem since October, so I would have had to have turned the kitchen upside down to find any desserts. Sharon has hidden them so perfectly for me, like chocolate especially. I have no willpower.
Hmm.
I would have had something with a little candle on it for him, but
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank
I
you.
will say I will say the most beautiful birthday prayer I can think of for him.
Thank
One
you.
year old, my gosh, has his whole life ahead of him, and I
Hmm.
can't think of a better life that he's going to have. But with you up there, where you're at, that's going to be
Thank you. He's
wonderful.
very healing. He's very healing. You know how that works. Yeah.
Um, I didn't really prepare for today's show. I'll tell you why. Because I never know what you and I are going to talk about, and I love it that way. Two, I do have some questions that some of your fans and followers have sent in. Um, but what I will ask you about is how are you coping with how crazy the world seems to be right now? I've been ending my shows with a bad joke to try and put a smile on people's faces, and the jokes are sent in by viewers of the show, and I stick them in this hat here. Um, I'm overwhelmed right now with people that are just so depressed. I mean, we have the
Yeah.
pandemic, then we come out of the pandemic. People either lost their job or now they can't, if they spend the money to put gas in their car to get to work, they can't buy food. If they buy the food instead, they got no gas to get to work, they lose their job. People can't pay their mortgage, can't pay their rent. They're borderline being homeless, if not already homeless. Um, and a lot of people don't see a light at the end of the tunnel, no hope. Again, here's one of those weird questions I'm asking you because um, I'm just interested on how you see it and how you feel and how you cope. Me, I
Mm.
hibernate and do a lot of praying and just
Yeah.
try to treat people the way I want to be treated. And I just do a lot of praying and I hibernate.
That's a good idea. I think that's prayer, meditation, whatever you want to do, affirmations, however you want to connect with creator source. Is a very good idea. When it comes down to what's happening here, yeah, I feel like I'm in a weird dream, like this is a really bad dream. And everything feels very strange to me, energetically speaking, when it comes down to the exterior, not my personal environmental condition, but exterior. It feels very off. A lot of weird going on. You know what's going on, especially beings like us who can kind of predict timelines. We can see kind of what the strategy is when it comes down to America, where we're heading. And yeah, I see a lot of people depressed. I have a lot of people like that contact me, very sad, very distraught. Some get kind of emotionally haunted in a sense of just regurgitating fear. And a lot of things like that are going on. So for me, I know the best thing is just take the helm. And if you can't take the helm, like divinity, obviously, but the higher self or so super conscious, but literally trying to navigate as best you can. And it is not easy. It is not, because we're being confronted with everything you can imagine. You're talking about financial. That's the biggest thing that I've seen too. A lot of people just don't have the money anymore. Everybody's a paycheck away from living on the streets. A lot of displacement, and that goes spiritually too. So yeah,
Yeah. Um, so I'll again at the end of the show try to put a smile on people's face with a dumb joke.
that's a
Um,
good idea.
that's
I'm
my
serious, right?
poor my poor attempt at it. Okay, what do I want to ask you? One of the I without even having to look, somebody who must know of you, but not too familiar with your background. I know you're a lineage initiated witch. I have a lot of witch friends. You probably maybe you know that.
Of
Um,
course.
and I I don't judge anybody. I don't have I live and let live. There's bad priests. Um,
About everything.
I've had bad clergy reach out to me for help, that they're doing things that they just know they're under attack and it's not like them, and they're committing sin and they need help. So it's everywhere.
Mm.
Talk to me about. I do have a lot of religious groups that I am that I coordinate with, and let's like right now, for instance, to pick one out of the air. There's one group that we all at the same time every day, no matter where in the world you are, at the same time every day, we either get up and say the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Prayer to Saint Michael, short version in English, and or the Rosary. Now, that's just that one group's attempt to try and, put the positive love and light vibe out there. What do covens that are all about love and light, like that's you're all of that. That's all I see around you. What do
There's a
what do
Valkyrie in there
covens
somewhere, but yeah.
what do covens do for that sort of stuff?
We do the same thing, and we probably covered this before, but the idea behind that would be doing circle work in alignment with positivity on the world and what needs to be worked on here, raising the vibration, raising states of consciousness, and bringing forward healing energetics, depending on what where we're working, whether it's with the animal kingdom, plant kingdom, mineral kingdom, or physical beings. We tend to do earth work like that. And so far as we're talking on a planetary scale, on a more traditional sense, we just raise energy and power and utilize it accordingly insofar as what's needed in the moment. If it's somebody who's needing healing, or if it's an issue somebody needs to go and resolve, so that sort of thing. But yeah, on a global scale, universal scale, I think that's what you're suggesting with a unity consciousness and meditation is a very good idea to do something like that. So we do something similar when it comes down to it.
Very, very cool. Are you much
Mhm.
active in that anymore? Do you still?
I
I
still
know you have a
am.
couple of. You have more Facebook pages than
They're just
me.
like
Where
in
are you?
limbo. Just
Yeah,
ignore them.
you've got Solaris Blue Raven author. You've got Solaris Blue Raven published works. We'll get into some of your books. You've got Solaris Blue Raven producer. You've got your personal page that I'm friends with you on. You've got Raven Stars Witching Hour, which is your show on.
Right.
You've got Hyperspace Tonight on KCOR. You've got Raven Stars Witching Hour tomorrow night at
Yes.
midnight.
With a
And
special
I'm on your
guest.
show tomorrow night. Some weird dude that thinks he's an exorcist is on your show tomorrow
We
night.
need you.
But um, are you really still very active with the covens and or not so much?
I actually, I guess I could say I am indirectly. I am doing work with other clergy, so to speak. So high ranking, elders of the community. I'm also working. We're doing some circle casting. I don't know if I told you this or not, but sometimes we do a radio show and we actually cast circle on air, and we've been doing that recently too. So yeah, on and off, I am definitely still involved in it. It's just I've been diverting my energy into finishing up some projects, and one of which is a book series too, and then some other things that I'm working on. So yeah, it's kind of a mix. It's a
Yeah,
path that never leaves you, really. It's just a matter of you know where everybody's going on the timeline.
I credit you for being one of the people that got me to finally get off my butt and finish my first book.
So
Because
proud of
I
you.
for years I kept talking about doing it and doing it and I never did. And you just kept coming out with one great book after another, and I'm like, how did you do it? And it was you and a couple of other people I credit for giving me whatever you said just really resonated, and I just followed that, and it happened.
Well,
Um,
fabulous. Congratulations too on your success, by the way.
I want to ask you something else about your books. For the person who hasn't purchased one of your books yet, you recommend what would you recommend for the first time Solaris Blue Raven reader? And then I would like you to add to that what's your personal fave.
Oh wow. Excuse me. Well, I would have to say I think Alien Intelligence is the one of my best. That's recent. That's the most recent book I put out. That would give you a glimpse insofar as what I'm about on various levels, and also our cosmic intelligence, our ancestry, spiritual avenues that we connect in with and intersect with. And then I would say um, my favorite book. Is that what you're asking me?
Of yours.
Uh, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I think I do. I think it'd be 1 Million Miles Till Midnight or Mr. Sun and the Halloween Ball. Those two books are very dear to my heart for various reasons. The
I
children's
am
book
so
I
happy
love.
that you've brought up the children's book. I thought about that.
Hmm.
You don't see me writing one. I thought about that, and that one did well. And so I'd like to
Hmm.
know if there's going to be Mr. Sun too.
Well, there should be, and I know I've been asked that several times if I would make a sequel to it. So I probably will at some point. Yeah, I think that's a great thing. And also,
How do you
you
go
would
from doing
consider.
what you do and then you get into a children's book? How do you change that whole
I had to switch gears.
psyche thing? Yeah.
Yeah, that was right after I wrote Eye of the Remote, Black Operations, and Aries Bound 52. And I had to switch gears and get into something more lighthearted. So I went into the Mr. Sun and the Halloween Ball. And it was just one of those things that just kind of started kind of running the data for it, and then all of a sudden just formulated into a really nice book. And I thought this would be a nice children's book, and I like it quite a bit. So yeah, it's a break. It's basically downshifting from all the insanity and all the crazy. I was going to say you should consider doing a children's book for maybe for children insofar as demonology goes, or
Uh,
I think that would be great. Honestly, I think that's something to look at.
how do you do a children's book on that? I mean,
I think you can.
do I
Well,
have it
how to
right on
do
here?
psychic protection for one, and also how to cast out negativity in whatever
Yeah,
formula you want to talk about. But
I've got this
I think
squirt
there's a
gun
place for it. What's
filled with
that?
holy water.
Oh, you're
I give
funny.
these squirt guns filled with holy water to children when I go work cases. If there's
That's so
children there,
cute.
I give that to them to shoot the bad guy when he comes out at night in their bedrooms. To
Wasn't that
I,
vampire movie? They did that in gosh, which one was
oh
it?
yeah, and
But
who
but
knows? I may have gotten that idea from that movie.
well, it
The
doesn't matter. I think
original,
it's adorable.
original.
Lost Boys, Lost
Yeah,
Boys.
that's it. That's it. Yeah.
But I'll tell you, that is a great idea, and I would like a squirt gun with holy water myself. So there you go. I think
Well,
that's a
who knows?
fabulous
One
idea.
may I know your address. I happen to know your
That's right.
address. People put my feet to the fire to want me to give it up all the time, and I don't give it up. So you may have one may arrive to you.
I would love that. Seriously.
Uh, what else I want to ask you? I know you and I talked about this briefly in the green room. That as long as in all of the years I've been doing this podcast, if I don't talk about COVID or the vaccine, usually the show doesn't get pulled off of Facebook or YouTube.
Mhm.
People have heard enough about that stuff anyway. So we may get a little controversial here because of your background, which whenever you tell me some of the stories about some of the things you've experienced, they blow me away. You
Mhm.
mentioned something earlier, which I heard you say the illusion of life.
Right.
What did you mean by that?
I say that often, just insofar as it feels like a dream. It's very surreal sometimes. It can be nebulous sometimes, and a lot of what we're dealing with right now are programs. Programs in reality or maybe not reality, so far as our social conditioning goes. So I look at it like life in the illusion of, as you're navigating on the timeline. What is real, what is not real. That sort of thing. So on a multidimensional perspective, I tend to say that a lot, or I'll say the illusion of time, which is the same thing because time isn't necessarily a real, it's a benchmark of measure. However, we navigate through the illusion of a benchmark of time. So just little things that I say that cue me also to what's going on here on a higher level of our own divinity.
Do you think we've done this all before? Do you think there's I have a bad habit of throwing like 5-part questions at my guests, so forgive me. But
You're
do you
fine.
think we've done this all before, or there is a parallel universe that's along with this, or reincarnation? Do you go for all of that?
Well, I do believe in reincarnation. However, I don't believe anybody's incarnating here on the timeline right now. I would have to say, yeah, in my opinion, we have experience in doing what we're doing right now on the timeline previously. You've done this before. I've done this before. This is not new to us. And probably others who are walking the timeline feel it too. And maybe some of it's deja vu, but as multidimensional beings or spiritual beings, we get this kind of a cellular memory and access into information. We've talked about our ancestry before and how we can access certain timelines of our ancestors and kind of extract the database for our own knowledge and gnosis of understanding. So I do believe that goes on. And I do believe a lot of our information comes from them too. So, just my 2 cents on there.
Uh, is it just me, or does it seem like I know they've always been there and they'll always be there? But for some reason, me especially, I've noticed it. It seems like I'm noticing more and more people trying to play God. It's like you posted a great article about there's a Tesla uh, something happening event, a Tesla event. The largest Tesla coil in the world is going to be reactivated or something at Tesla's
Oh,
birthday.
CERN?
Well, CERN's a different one. I saw an article on
Okay.
CERN. And I don't even know how that test came out. That was earlier this week. But CERN's trying to poke a hole into the, you know, I don't know what they're trying to poke a hole into. But also Tesla, I guess the largest Tesla coil in the world is at
Oh, right.
some
Yeah, yeah.
some park somewhere, and I guess it's to commemorate his birthday or his death. They're going to turn this coil on, and they're having like a fair, an event there. Then you have, like, I was just reading the other night about some group up in North Dakota or South Dakota who's trying to um, find dark matter.
Hmm.
So I see all these people trying to play God. I don't know what the what they're trying to accomplish with these things. It's some of this stuff, and it's probably just me not understanding, are scary. Talk to us about And then I want to talk to you about something else. But talk to us about these types of groups that seem to be trying to play God, and if it's a good thing, if you feel if it's a bad thing, and why turn on the largest Tesla coil? Why find dark matter? Why try to poke a hole into another dimension?
Mhm. Right, well, I think the problem we're running into with technology and science right now is that it's becoming militarized and weaponized. So anytime they have an idea to do something that's, beyond the realm of what people perceive in science, mainstream science, it tends to go into a weaponized version of a product that is very detrimental to the planet or to people here in our evolutionary or on the evolutionary scale, at least what I've seen. So I look at it as I love science and technology and I believe in that. However, the people that are doing these nefarious things seem to want to do something for control purposes, also for secrecy. So it's not something they want to share with everyone. They want to have access to something. Maybe they think they're going to get some kind of a special power associated with what they punch a hole into. But in my opinion, we're all multidimensional to begin with. We can access and traverse the galactic highway with our own cosmic blueprint. So it's really not necessary in a sense, but it's just too much weaponization, in my opinion. Like I said, I've seen too much of it. I've seen the way they've distorted everything over the years. And at some point, hopefully that will transcend, but it takes spiritual gnosis to do that. I don't think they're ready. I really don't. Or a higher consciousness, I don't see that going on. So that's just the way I observe it.
What scares you?
You asked me that before. Nothing really. I'm not afraid.
You
I have
change. You change a lot. You're into so much stuff. I wonder if the next time I talk to you, if there's something else, if it scares you, maybe I ought to pay attention and be
well,
scared of it too.
I think the feeling that I because I don't have that kind of feeling of fear, I think that's a program. I just have things that run that just block out the potential to have fear. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It just is what it is at this point in my life. But I'll tell you what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the path that we're heading down right now as a country and a world. That's very, very dangerous, and in my opinion, is not in the highest good for anybody here on this world or the timeline. So I look at that, and you know, fear, no, don't be fearful. Just be empowered and strong. Have situation awareness and make sure you can negate attacks just like you do. I'm sure you're not really afraid when you're empowered by your creator, by Christ. You don't have the fear. I mean, that goes away. You're overtaken by that power.
I
And
think
at least
what
that's my observation.
with me, it's more like, I worry about Sharon. I worry about my other family members. I worry
Right.
about my
Oh, I see.
animals
Yeah, yeah.
and friends of mine, and so I worry that way. Me, I know that I'm going to end up in in a better place. So if like if it was just done over, I know that I'm good. So I take a big let go, let God approach to
Hmm.
everything,
That's
and
good.
I know He'll take care of it. But I worry about I tend, like I said, I tend to wear my emotions on my sleeve and worry about everybody else a
Well,
lot. And you're right, I agree with you 100%. Things are just really, really ugly right now. So here's some more ugliness. We'll get through the ugliness and then we'll try to finish the show on some happiness.
here you go.
We had another mass shooting
Hmm.
on 4th of July. And I try not to watch the news too much because I find it very depressing. If it's a good movie, Sharon and I watch it. She likes the news more than I do, so I let her watch the news as much as she wants to watch it. I'm on EWTN a lot. I like to watch that. But so this we have this shooting, and for the first time, I'm watching some news program, and it might have been, I don't know, it was just a regular, the news host brought on two or three people on a panel to talk about uh, the mass shooting, and this one old dude that's been involved in politics for as far back as I can remember, he starts talking about the demonic and the influence and what all of these mass murderers and mass shooting people had in common, which blew me away. And I kind of think I've already knew it, was no spirituality, no religious belief system in their home. Um, all seem to be into the occult, not necessarily witchcraft, but into the occult, dark stuff. And he was starting to talk about what we need more. We need more exorcists. And I on this news station, they seem to kind of want to cut him off pretty quick after he started going down that path,
Hmm.
because it was a political show. But he goes, "What we need is more exorcists," and he was serious. And I'd never heard a
Hmm.
guy in his position talk like that before. And there's
Hmm.
people in your religious belief system or spiritual belief system that do that type of work too.
Hmm.
Um, how do you feel about these a statement like that? That all of these, um, talk about red flag. I guess they were talking about red flags that everybody around these people saw but did nothing about it.
Hmm.
Like they were
Right.
into the occult. They had no religious belief system. They were already hurting animals and tattooing their
That's a red flag.
faces and doing. So, what's your feeling when you hear they're all into the occult
Well,
in
that's kind of
statements like
generic,
that?
yeah, and that's why everybody thinks that we all eat babies and this, that, and the other, and I get it. I'm not saying magic, the world of the occult and magic is a dangerous place to tread. If you don't know what you're doing, it's not for teenagers. It's not for these young kids that think they know because they read a Crowley book or whatever they're doing. You have to be very dedicated, but also very switched on when it comes to higher consciousness, and have a very good teacher, in my opinion. But a lot of the times, I look at these people, I see them as entity possessed. I look at that guy, and he looks completely taken over. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but the guy wasn't there. So once again, lower astral entity possession, disembodied spirits come to mind. You want to say it's demonic. It can certainly be something of a very nefarious nature, and definitely boogie blasting comes to mind. Yeah, clearing these people. But this is a hive that I'm seeing now. I'm seeing more than just this person here. This is like a collective of people that are navigating this very ugly space of energy, and that is no good. So whatever it takes to exercise it and to blast it out and to purify, yeah, I'm all for that. You know how I am when it comes down to Christ consciousness. I work with it all the time. Cosmic Christ, Office of the Christ, when it comes to celestial components. And it is mystery school teachings. It's ancient mystery school teachings, which, in my opinion, what Christianity should have been versus what it is today. But that's just me. So yeah, I think that there's some strange going on with that whole scenery. But yeah, they definitely need something, because that's destructive. When you start seeing them hurting animals and then it escalates to people, there's an issue.
It's so funny you brought up one of your comments was tapping into something I was thinking about with all of your bad history with the government, in just something as simple as causing a young man like that to become so lost and to end up doing something like that. And he was on his way to do it in Green Bay when
Hmm.
they stopped him after he did the first one. Um, how is that too low scale for the government to be involved? Would they
No, not at all.
rather not at all? How realistic would a person be to think that possibly a lot of that is happening too? You and I've had this discussion too, but
Hmm.
for instance, with that kid,
Right.
um,
Yeah, it's highly possible. I
do
mean,
they just throw it out there and somebody like a sponge who's
hmm,
not psychically where he needs to be
hmm,
uh, get react to that and then end up doing something like that,
right.
or
Well,
is
look
it
at the social engineering that's been going on for the past, I don't know how many years now. We're seeing an escalation in violence in general, and bad role models, a lot of bad role models that have been encouraged to behave poorly. And I'm not going to mention any groups, but you know what I'm talking about more than likely. There's been a lot of that going on. You have kids like that who are watching and observing and seeing other people's get away with acting like criminals and not no punishment. So once again, that behavior gets more and more amplified. There's also the social engineering. There's electronic warfare. There's all kinds of psychological operations that are running rampant, and it could be transmission related in a sense of if somebody's very weak on the astral or even on an emotional mental level. There's schizophrenia in a sense of not schizophrenic but borderline behavioral issues. Then they can get hijacked to some degree and amplified, and then of course their personalities get out of control and under control by operators, and that has a lot to do with electronic interface and warfare. Now that sounds like a lot for a lot of people, but it is a technology that we have, and we do have capabilities to do things. Was he under that? I'm not certain, but I will tell you, nobody in their right mind behaves that way. So you have to look at it on various levels. And the entity possession, when you get interconnected with technology like that, can bring in extra entities and disembodied spirits and amplify the supernatural.
for me the only big dead giveaway is like I buy into the complete integration. I do believe like if some demonic possession is left untreated for a long period of time, eventually the original soul that's inhabiting that vessel gets kind of pushed out, and then the invading
Mm-hmm.
entities, whatever it is, takes over. But because that's so rotten to the core, eventually over time it starts manifesting in severe illness in this body. The human body can't take being inhabited for a long period of time by that type of thing. So,
Hmm.
they just start the body starts to deteriorate.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's usually a big sign to me. But I've seen a lot of these been called in on cases where I've thought about you and I've thought, this is not responding to anything that I've normally dealt with. Okay, sure, it could be an ancient disembodied spirit that never inhabited a human body in this life and never doesn't have any fear of God. So all of my, religious stuff that I'm coming at it with isn't going to have any effect.
Hmm.
Possibly, but there's other things involved there where I think this is just this is just too weird. It's almost like not reactive but programmed.
Right. Almost like I want to say artificial intelligence, but yeah, I get it. Yeah. Almost like an electronic host. I do think there are a lot of people like that out there that have been hijacked, don't know it. There's the regular organic, hijacking, like you were discussing, and then there's technological stuff that goes on. And you have to really understand what you're dealing with. I think you're very savvy when it comes to your intelligence. You can certainly do an analysis when it comes down to implants or even, checking out their backgrounds as far as where they've been, where their family's been, hereditary wise. And I'm talking even with extraterrestrial and contactees, because there seems to be a correlation with that too. They get hijacked quite often if they're getting pulled into anything militarized. So that does happen. And then their behavior changes, like you were saying, it eats away at the host. It eats away at the host because you're right, the soul doesn't have any place to dwell, so it evacuates unless it's very strong. If it's very strong, then it's stubborn, it'll stay. Like, the integration of higher self over soul, a very, very fortified spirit, they'll say, nope, I'm staying. And the other one gets cast out. So, the wars.
Uh,
I've been there,
um,
so I know. You know.
okay, in the short time we got left, about 7, 8 minutes, we'll try to make it happy here because I could really just dive off the diving board into the deep end without my floaties on and go get get dark haired. Let's talk about. We'll go back to the animal thing.
Okay.
Familiars.
Yeah.
I've got these 13 cats that adopted us. Well, four adopted us. One was pregnant and she had her whole litter here. And they all came here. The reason why Sharon's so attached to them, because they came to say goodbye to our other cat that we had for 10 years. She must have made friends with them in the neighborhood somewhere. And then close to coming to the time where we had to euthanize her, these cats showed up just to kind of say
Mhm.
goodbye to her. Then they never left. And then the one had the litter. Then they never left. So Sharon brought home more carriers. She feeds them all, takes care of them all. We're the crazy. Not only were we the crazy exorcist people in the neighborhood, now we're the crazy exorcist cat people in the neighborhood. The neighbors don't mind because you haven't seen one rat or one mouse in our neighborhood. You know, I can't remember the last time. So then I told you about this little white cat that shows up, could fit in the
Mhm.
palm of your hand on my doorstep. Don't know where it came from. So now we have another cat. I think this cat travels interdimensionally because one second it's there, the next second it's gone. You can't find it anywhere. It's just a kitten. The next
Mhm.
second it's like in your lap or
Oh,
it's
wow.
behind you on something looking at you. Just crazy. Talk to me about familiars. I know that I have elementals here on the property.
Mhm.
Talk to me about if there's a difference between the two, or in your spirituality, what familiars mean to you and how they're used.
Well, in my opinion, I think the elementals are an aspect of more on an astral level or interdimensional, but you can certainly have elementals in correlation to animals. For a familiar, like some practitioners of the craft have familiars, usually it's a cat, sometimes a dog, or something that has a resonance, a real strong psychic bond and connection to the priest or the priestess, and usually they're attracted to the supernatural naturally. Like if you cast circle, they'll always be there. It's just like they automatically have this calibration to the unseen world, and with that comes more of the familiar aspects of it. So you can use them for various things. A lot of people say that, I've not done this, but you can use them for, I don't want to say mischievous things, but you can use them for seeking out and perhaps observing through another pair of eyes. In other words, another remote look through the eyes of an animal, kind of like a shaman would do too. On that level, you can use them for shielding, protection for yourself or for family. And at the same time, they need to be protected as well because they're the first to take the hit psychically if you have any adversaries. They would be the first ones to go down. That's a real red flag for anybody in the craft or anybody on the spiritual path. When your animals start getting attacked, you know something's afoot coming after you. They try to take the protection away as best they can, and they'll go after the animals. I don't know if that really answers your question. I mean, I've never really
Oh, yeah.
used my familiars like that. I mean, in a sense, they are what they are. They're magical beings, and they're a pleasure to be around. A blessing.
Well, I'm the first one to admit that I'm more of a dog person, but I've adopted these cats, and it's like,
They picked you.
um, yeah. So it is what it is. I get a kick out of them, and it's
You
you
should
go
have
out
a
there.
Bastet statue in your house somewhere or something. I swear, that's like temple
Yeah,
kitties everywhere for you.
it's crazy. So and my wife and I were just trying to find a good movie on TV the other night, a few weeks back, and we stumbled on. Um, I had to look at the clock because if I watch a scary movie right before she has to go to bed, that's a no-no because she'll have night terrors.
Mhm.
So I said, this is supposed to be a really good movie, Sharon, and I think you're at okay time. You still got a few hours before you go to bed. She goes, okay, let's give it a shot. And it was based on a true story of an American priest that was sent to Italy to learn how to do exorcisms from an exorcist. Anthony Hopkins is in it. It's a great movie. It's called The Rite.
Hmm.
He gets possessed, and the
Hmm.
young priest ends up having to perform an exorcism on his mentor. But when he showed up to the guy's villa there in Italy, which of course is right across the street from a church, they're always right across the street from a church. He says, "Do you like cats?" And the young priest, before he even has a chance to say anything, he goes, "Well, I hope so because Italy's infested with them. The guy's yard was just had cats everywhere." He goes, "Come on in, don't let him get inside." Of course, Anthony Hopkins leaves the door open before the young priest can grab the door. Two or three of them run in. But as we're watching that scene, I can feel Sharon's eyeballs on me, and I just look over at her. She's like, "Why all of a sudden do I have all these cats here?" So I think they are very protective. They are here for a
Hmm.
reason. I think they are very protective, and whatever they got going on in that world, they know what they're doing, and they're here for a
Hmm.
reason. And the spirits don't seem to bother them, and they don't obviously don't bother the spirits. But
Hmm.
when it comes to children and dogs, and even cats, when I go to work, I don't poke the bear. I don't do religious provocation. When I go to these cases, I already know if something's there that shouldn't be there. Just my presence is provocation enough. So I
Hmm.
usually a day or two before ask the family to please send the children and the animals somewhere. If you've got to board the animals for a day or two, that would
Hmm.
be a good idea. If you've got family members that live somewhere else in town or neighbors that you know and love and trust that you can have babysit your kids for, overnight, please send them there because when stuff gets crazy, you're right. They get targeted and
Hmm.
they usually are the ones that receive the brunt of the initial attacks when stuff starts to go crazy there. So,
Yep.
oh my gosh. Any events? I saw a great picture. I was stalking you for information
You're funny.
on your. You got a. I went to all your Facebook pages. You had a couple of about the. You have two Coven Facebook pages.
I know
Beautiful.
I have all kinds of pages. I do.
I saw a great picture of you recently at an event somewhere. And I don't hear you talk about going to events much. Do you
I
have any
haven't been doing
remaining
anything.
this year that you're like, I got to go to that?
Since the shutdown, that was my last event when I was traveling, and I promoted Alien Intelligence, my most recent book. I am doing something connected to time travel. I have a book coming out on time travel, which I might be doing a presentation on. I'm not sure what we're. I have to get in touch with the woman who's doing the event and finding out if it's physical or virtual. But yeah, I'll be doing something like that. So stay tuned. And just getting the books out, doing my own work and radio shows right now. I could use a vacation, to be honest with you. So I could really I wanna go to Santorini or I gotta get out of here. You know that feeling? It's just, so anyways,
Maybe
but
one
I'll
day we
stay
will
tuned.
all do. If in a couple of years, I already told the lady who does the secret
Ireland.
Ireland tours. Yeah, I'm shooting for 2024. There's some things coming
Oh,
up.
cool.
I got to see how all that works out. But you'll be you're on the
Oh,
list
I
of the
would like to
people
go,
that
and
are
my sister
close
would
to
probably
me.
like to go.
Oh yeah, that I'm going to reach out to and say this is
Okay.
happening on this date, 10 days. Yeah, this is what it'll cost. You'll be that I reach out to because that would
Cool.
be a
Oh,
blast
I
to
would
have.
love to go. Are you kidding? Yeah, let me know. Stay in touch. Well, you'll be on my show tomorrow night. Don't forget.
Yes, I'm on. So everybody watching, if you're not tired of listening to me babble on with the beautiful Solaris Blue Raven, I'm on her show tomorrow night. That's Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Raven Star's Witching Hour at 12 midnight, 9 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. She's got her show later on tonight on KCOR Hyperspace. So you're a busy person. She's got books out. Go to her website, Night Shadow Anomaly Detectives, all one word.com. Also, Solaris Blue Raven, one word, .webs.com. Check out her books. I love you. If I was there, I'd give you a
Love you
big hug
too.
and a kiss. Say hi to your sister. Give
I
all your
will.
animals a big hug and a kiss for me.
You'll
Thank
do.
you for hanging out for an hour, and I guess I'll be talking to you tomorrow night.
Okay. I love you too. And you take care. Thank you for a wonderful show. This has been great.
All right. Have a great
Much
day,
love.
sweetie. I'll see you later.
You too.
Bye. Oh my gosh. See, Revs and witches can get along and love each other. What do I want to tell you guys? Who's going to be here? Oh, Monday. Ooh, the doctor is in. She has your prescription for the paranormal. The one and only Dr. Joy Pugh will be here Monday, this coming Monday, July 11th. My Monday show is a different time, 5 p.m. Pacific. But Dr. Joy, she's been on here before. She blows people's minds away. Such an intelligent person in all things paranormal, spiritual, religious, you name it. So I will see you guys all Monday. Thank you to lots of people. Zach Clayton and Adrian Hart, my co producers. I love them. I wouldn't be doing this show without them. They run everything. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. Thank you to Skeleton Key Network. Thank you to Pact, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel for all simulcasting my show. So, yeah, Adrienne wasn't joking when she said, I'm going to have you on every station in the world. And she's off to a good start. What else do I want to tell you guys other than I love you all? I will pray for all of you. Stay blessed. Have a blessed week. Or, you know, be good. In my poor attempt to leave you all with a smile on your face, I'm going to pull a bad joke out of my hat, once worn by a carnival barker who asked me to come and investigate his carnival. And I tell that story in the second book. That's a really good one. His daughter sent me this hat after he passed away. I already know who's this joke from. This is from my wife. Uh, you can't blame anyone else if you fall in your driveway. It's your own asphalt. Good night, dog. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all. Peace.